Alright, let's make a classic West Coast bass sound on the MicroKORG plugin. It's probably one of the best synths to start making your own sounds, and it's really easy to use and you don't need to set up any complicated modulations to achieve some great sounds. And you can of course use the hardware MicroKORG as well, but honestly I would recommend just getting the plugin. There is a fully functional demo version on the Korg website and it will enable you to follow along this tutorial. And if you really insist on using hardware, you can then transfer your patch to your hardware MicroKORG, as programming on the hardware MicroKORG isn't really all that intuitive. And after I make the patch, I'm gonna try to use it in context and see if it works, because every time you create a synth sound, you have to try it and see if it's actually useful. So we're gonna make a beat as well. So let's start from scratch with the initialized patch. Click on this menu here and choose load init program and choose the synth option. So now we just have a basic saw wave. First, let's set up the oscillators, our sound sources. So as you can see in the mixer here, we got oscillator 1 turned all the way up and oscillator 2 is muted, we don't hear it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep the oscillator 1 as it is, and we're gonna turn up oscillator 2. It is also set to saw wave, the same as oscillator 1, and so they are both playing at the same octave now, but we're gonna transpose oscillator 2 12 semitones down, so an octave down. So it provides some thickness. Now, as you can hear, when I hit two notes together, we have this clashing sound. So another thing we want to do is set our voices to mono, so we don't have two notes overlapping each other when we play legato. Bass sounds are usually monophonic. Now, let's go to the filter, and we have two low-pass filters, the 24 dB one and the 12 dB one. Experiments to see which one sounds best. By default, we got the 12 dB per octave one, which is not as steep as the 24 dB one. We're gonna crank up the resonance as well, so it turns down the cutoff, crank up the resonance, and we're gonna activate the filter envelope where it says EG int. This is the amount of filter envelope that's going to be applied. And we can control the curve of the envelope down here with these sliders. So we're going to increase the intensity. And we're going to turn the sustain down. And so what about the decay? Let's see if we can fine tune the decay to make it a bit more snappy, make it snappier. So you want a fast decay, so we get this fast plucked sound. And so we have this bite to the sound. And so we got a fairly decent sound. We can just try to fine tune it a bit with the resonance, the cutoff, the filter envelope amount. Basically, it's up to your preference to fine tune these to make them sound the way you want them to. Or we can try increasing the attack. If we prefer this kind of sound. So just be careful not to increase the resonance too much, as it can eat up your low end. And to be fair, this patch isn't quite bassy at all. The MicroKORG isn't really the fattest, bassiest synth. However, if you look at the stock patches on the MicroKORG, one thing they do to make the sound bassier, it's really simple. They just turn up the low end on the EQ a lot. So we're gonna turn it up like, let's say, +8. And so we got a fat bass sound just by turning up the EQ. Sometimes it's the simple things, guys. You don't need to overcomplicate it. Just turn up the bass if you want more bass. So yeah, the cool thing about the MicroKORG is that we don't need to set up stuff like, you know, the mod wheel to act as a vibrato. It's set up by default on the initialized patch. You got the legato where the envelope isn't re-triggered, so you can do this. So basically overlapping notes sounds nice. And they don't re-trigger this envelope curve every time you play a new note. So that was all a pretty simple bass sound. Let's try to make a track with it. By the way, don't forget to save the patch so you can recall it in any other project. Just hit this icon with the 2 floppy disks here. Save program as a new file and it will prompt you to save it in the user directory. I do have a lead that I've created in my user library, so let's try to add this lead. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you in the next one.